If you've ever come across a 1972 Kennedy half-dollar, you might have thought of it as just another heavy piece of change that rarely gets used anymore. But what if I told you that some of these coins are worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars, depending on their condition, rarity, and special errors? Stick with me till the end, because today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar coin, uncovering its history, design, key details, values, and the hidden treasures that might just be sitting in your pocket or coin jar. The Kennedy half-dollar was first introduced in 1964, following the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy in November 1963. Americans were grieving, and there was a strong demand to honor Kennedy's legacy. The U.S. Mint quickly moved to redesign the half-dollar, replacing the Franklin half-dollar with the Kennedy design. It instantly became one of the most popular coins in U.S. history, cherished both as a circulating coin and a keepsake. By 1972, the Kennedy half-dollar had already gone through several major changes. Initially struck in 90% silver in 1964, the mint shifted to a 40% silver composition between 1965 and 1970 due to the rising cost of silver. After 1970, circulating Kennedy halves were made of copper-nickel clad, the same composition we see today. That means the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar contains no silver in its regular circulation strikes. However, this doesn't make it less collectible, and you'll see why shortly. Let's break down the coin itself. The obverse features the left-facing portrait of John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. It's bold, elegant, and instantly recognizable. The word Liberty arcs across the top, In God We Trust, is split on either side of the neck, and the date, 1972, rests at the bottom. The reverse, created by Frank Gasparro, displays the presidential seal, a heraldic eagle holding an olive branch and arrows, surrounded by 50 stars. It's one of the most iconic reverses in modern U.S. coinage. Now, here's where things get exciting: the value of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar. On the surface, most circulated examples are only worth their face value of 50 cents. In fact, millions were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, so they aren't rare in the most common form. The mintage numbers were massive. Over 153 million struck at Philadelphia, 141 million at Denver, and millions more proof coins at San Francisco. With such high numbers, it might seem like these coins are just pocket change. But that's not the full story. Collectors look for quality, and condition is everything. A regular 1972 half-dollar in circulated condition may not be worth much, but if you happen to find one in uncirculated mint state, the value jumps significantly. In grades like MS-65 or higher, these coins can be worth $20, $50, or even hundreds of dollars, depending on their rarity and eye appeal. And then there's the 1972 D-No FG variety, one of the most famous errors in Kennedy half-dollar history. The FG initials belong to Frank Gasparro, the reverse designer, and they appear just below the eagle's tail feathers near the bottom. On certain 1972 D coins, due to over-polishing of the dies, these initials are completely missing. Collectors call this the No FG error, and it's incredibly valuable. In fact, some high-grade examples of the 1972 D-No FG Kennedy half-dollar have sold for over $10,000 at auctions. Imagine pulling one of those from a coin roll or an old jar at home. That's not the only error to look out for. The 1972 Kennedy half-dollar also comes with other fascinating mistakes. You might find double dies, where parts of the design are doubled, giving a blurry or doubled effect on the lettering or numbers. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or coins struck on the wrong planchet can also exist, and all of these error coins carry significant premiums among collectors. Let's not forget the proof coins. The San Francisco Mint produced proof versions of the 1972 half-dollar, intended for collectors. These coins have mirror-like surfaces and sharp details, and while most are affordable, the highest-graded proofs can fetch impressive prices. Some even display deep cameo contrast, where the frosted devices sharply contrast with a mirrored background, making them highly desirable. So how can you tell if your 1972 Kennedy half-dollar is valuable? First, check the mint mark. Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, Denver coins show a D, and San Francisco proofs show an S. Next, examine the coin's condition. If it's heavily worn, it's probably worth only face value. But if it has sharp details, luster, and minimal marks, it could be a higher grade piece. Lastly, always check the reverse for the missing FG initials. That's the jackpot variety. The story of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar isn't just about money, though. It's also about symbolism and American history. By the early 1970s, the coin was still a powerful reminder of President Kennedy's legacy. Many people hoarded them as keepsakes, and even today, they're seen as a nostalgic piece of U.S. coinage. While they no longer circulate widely, you don't often get half-dollars in your change. They remain a favorite among coin collectors and history enthusiasts alike. If you're serious about collecting, here's a tip. Check coin rolls from banks. Coin roll hunting can still yield Kennedy half-dollars, and you never know, a 1972 no FG error could be hiding in there. Also, if you have old proof sets, make sure to examine them closely. Sometimes, collectors discover hidden gems in sets that were sitting untouched for decades.